Well, our guest tonight is David Mack, and it's my pleasure to introduce him and tell you a little bit about him. David is the award-winning and New York Times best-selling author of more than 30 novels of science fiction, fantasy, and adventure, including the Star Trek Destiny and Cold Equations trilogies. His writing credits span several media, including television, for episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, short fiction, and comic books. David is also presently serving as a consultant on two animated Star Trek television series, Lower Decks, produced by Mike McCann, and an as yet untitled series being produced for Nickelodeon by Dan and Kevin Hageman. Even more exciting, just yesterday, David was nominated for the prestigious Scribe Award, and he's probably had his social media filling up with people saying congratulations, and I get to add myself to that list. Congratulations, David. And now, without further ado, he's going to read for us. David?
Thank you, Lawrence. Pleasure to be introduced. Great to be here. I'm going to be reading tonight from The Midnight Front, which is book one of my Dark Arts series, published by Tor Books. This first book came out in January of 2018. Book three, The Shadow Commission, is coming out very soon on August 11, 2020. Book two, The Iron Codex, was published in January 2019 and is currently available wherever fine books are sold. The reason I've chosen to read to you from book one of the series, even though book three is about to come out, is that when someone reads to you from book three of a series you haven't read, it can be a little bit inaccessible. So I thought it might be fun to go back to the beginning, introduce you to our main character, Cade Martin, and the people who introduced him to magic. As for why I'm using this particular background image on Zoom this evening, what you are looking at behind me is an image of Eilean Donan Castle, just outside Dorney in Isle of Skye, Scotland. And it is the setting for tonight's reading. It is the premise of the book, which is secret history, not alt history, that Eilean Donan Castle, at the beginning of World War II, was the training site for the Midnight Front, the Allies' top-secret black magic warfare unit through Britain's Special Operations Executive. This story, or this scene that we're about to read, it's actually 5 little scenelets. They're set approximately around January 1941. I apologize in advance for the fact that I am terrible at accents. I mean, just awful. Whatever country I aim at, I usually wind up 2 countries to the left. I'm going to butcher several over the course of this reading. I do hope you'll forgive me. So with no further ado, I will be punctuating between scenes with small sips of the lovely bourbon, so you'll know when I'm switching scenes. And here we go. This is Chapter 8 from The Midnight Front. Magic is a science, Adair said to Cade as he juggled 3 orbs of fire. Master its rules, and you can learn to bend them. He made the fiery globes orbit above his head, and even break them. The tiny fireballs turned to ice, shot off in separate directions, and shattered against the castle's walls of stone. You try. Cade concentrated on the names and powers of the 4 demons he had yoked. Zaphin, the first, let him conjure and control fire. He held out his right palm and envisioned a ball of flames. Short-lived tongues of reddish fire danced above his hand. A deep breath slowed his racing heart and helped him imagine the fireball with greater clarity. It popped into being, an orb of cold flames swirling above his hand. I did it! He looked to Adair. What's next? Make another on your left, but with blue flames, and hot as hell this time. Again, Cade focused his thoughts on the demon and its native talent. Reluctant licks of fire danced in his left hand before the teal-colored fireball appeared. Its heat shriveled the hairs on the back of his hand. Okay, 1 hot fireball, 1 cold. Now what? Toss them in the loch. No way you're bringing those in the keep. Cade hurled the fireballs into Loch Duich. The red orb spawned a patch of ice on the lake's surface. and the blue orb blasted it to bits that turned to steam in midair. He was stunned to see such raw power in his own hands. That was wild. Adair shook his head. That was nothing. Before I can teach you to fight, you'll need to be able to attack and defend at the same time, and switch from one power to another on the move. Are you serious? You can barely call up one power at a time. The master took Cade's complaint in stride. Wielding yoked powers is always hard at first. It's like learning to play music. Music? Aye. When you start, it takes all your focus to make one perfect note. You worry about the note itself, about where your fingers go, and then you worry about the next note. But the more you practice, the easier it gets to follow one note with another. And each demon is like a new instrument with its own quirks and techniques. Then, one day, you find you never even think about the notes anymore. Then you're free to just play. It was a beautiful metaphor, one Cade could finally understand. Okay, so now? Learn to tell your sharps from your flats. When you can do that, we'll start on chords. Until then, let's see if you can throw some lightning. Magic is fun, mon ami. Nico passed the wine to Cade. And never let anyone tell you different. They had nearly finished off their third bottle of Côte de Rhône for the afternoon, in between what Nico said were sessions of instruction, but which were really a little more than him showing off his knack for the magics of mind control. A swig of red wine vanished down Cade's gullet. He sleeved some from his chin. What the hell is fun about having demons in your skull? I've had a headache for 3 days, and I'm starting to think I might never shit right again. Your stomach will adjust. As for your head, Nico took the bottle. Drink more. Cade laughed while Nico drank. Was it this hard for you at first? Harder. Took me 18 months to make my tools. Another 18 before Adair said I could make my first pact. 3 years I was a novice. You will be a Karcist in 3 months. Count yourself lucky. He passed the bottle to Cade. Want to see a party trick? Who wouldn't? Nico snapped his fingers, and the near-empty bottle was instantly full again. Better than Jesus, but drink it fast. An hour from now, it'll turn to piss. I'm pretty sure that'll happen after I drink it, with or without a demon. Cade downed a mouthful of the summoned wine. Not bad. Is there a whole field of hooch magic? It is called a cantrip. Minor magic. Still uses demons, but for trivial things. Adair told me never to use magic for anything that can be done some other way. Nico let slip a cynical chortle. Adair says lots of things. Now Cade was curious. Something I ought to know? Just that there is more than one way to work magic. And some, he took the wine, are more fun than others. Case in point. Truth magic. I will ask you a question. When you answer, try to tell me a lie. He leaned forward and looked into Cade's eyes while marshaling the power to compel the truth from someone. What do you really think of Anya? She scares the shit out of me, Cade said. His eyes went wide. Jesus, I wanted to say she seems nice, but a bit tense. Hell of a trick you got there. Now imagine what you could do with power like that in a poker game. An impish grin. As I said, mon ami, magic is fun. Magic is beauty. Stefan delivered his proclamation without, as far as Cade could tell, the least hint of irony or self-consciousness. They were alone in the conjuring room. Stefan had said they would review the finer points of demonic control, but as usual, he had spun himself off on a tangent. Hidden within the mysteries of the art are the secrets of the universe. He paced around Cade, fading in and out of sight with every other step, and each time he reappeared, Some detail of his attire or person had changed in color or style. Science has only begun to grasp what magic has long known, that we live in a realm of mysterious connections. Our cosmos exists on scales both greater and more minuscule than we can possibly comprehend. More than with any of Adair's other apprentices, Cade loved to listen to Stefan talk. Is that why you chose to study magic? Stefan stopped circling Cade and faced him. No, my friend was a student of Kabbalah. Stefan took off his glasses, pulled a cloth from his pocket, and polished the lenses. I was going to join him and his rabbis. Then I met Adair. When he showed me what the Goethe could do, he lost himself in a memory. I knew then what path I had to follow. He put away the cloth and fixed his glasses on his slender nose. The question, my friend, is what path will you take? Path? You mean like the left-hand path or the right-hand path? Forget the dogma. Magic is poetry and vulgarity. Its power comes from darkness, but can be used to shed light. It is yin and yang, but we must choose. Our will defines it. So what path will you choose? Light or darkness? Does it have to be black or white? Can't there be a middle path? Stefan paired a slow nod with a troubled frown. The path of shadow. A difficult road. One never knows where it might lead. Take that path with great caution. I think you could say that about any aspect of the art, Stefan. From where I'm standing, it looks like there isn't a single part of it that can't get you killed. His observation made Stefan chuckle. Very true. A dangerous way we follow. So what's the secret? The real secret, I mean. How do I do this and not die? It seemed to Cade that if anyone would give him a straight answer to that question, it would be Stefan. The master's senior apprentice considered the matter in earnest. Some would call my advice foolish or naive, Stefan said, but it is all I know to be true. Ground your actions in love and compassion, in empathy and generosity. Never act out of hatred or for selfish gain. The art elevates those who humble themselves before the divine, and humbles those who seek to clothe themselves in glory. Only when you let go of the ugliness of this world will magic reveal to you its true and endless beauty. Forked lightning stung the wand from Cade's hand. An unseen blade of ice pierced his gut and dropped him to his knees. Then an invisible hand slammed him against the keep's western wall, hard enough to rip open his forehead and paint his face with his own blood. He staggered backward and collapsed in the snow, stunned and gasping for air. Anya regarded him without pity. Magic is pain. Forget that, and you will die. Fire crackled in the billeting room's hearth. Cade lay in front of it, stretched out on a champagne-colored antique rug, letting the warmth soothe his aches. I really think she's trying to kill me. Nico shook his head. If she were, you would be dead. She just wants you to suffer. He and Stefan sat at the small round Chippendale gaming table in the center of the windowless room, nursing glasses of the master's best scotch. The bottle of 30-year-old Macallan was already half empty, though it had been open less than an hour. Stefan nodded between sips. Nico is right. She toys with you. Lucky me. Cade watched firelight dance with shadows on the low, barrel-vaulted ceiling. I just want to know what I did to make her hate me. Nico drained his glass with a tilt. Hate is a strong word. Then why did she tell me she hopes I die in training? The senior apprentices laughed. Stefan refilled Nico's glass as he said to Cade, She resents the attention you receive from the master. Cade sat up and felt the blood rush from his head. Resentment I can handle, but she acts like she's got it in for me. How can I trust someone who hates me to train me? Stefan tipped some scotch into a third glass. She respects the master too much to let you come to harm. He passed the drink to Cade. Be patient. Your training has been hard for her. Why? I've done everything she's told me. Nico's countenance turned thoughtful. You are a good student, mon ami. Better than expected. And that is the problem. Stefan added, You mastered the basics faster than anyone else we have ever trained. Why is that a problem? Because, Stefan said, though Anya is skilled, it took her many years to master the art. It did not come naturally to her. Nico nodded in affirmation. She got this far only because Adair treats her like his own. He lowered his voice. Had I been as slow as her, he'd have thrown me in the loch and told me to swim home. Knowing more about the dynamic between Anya and Adair only made Cade worry more. I've heard Adair say you two are leaving soon. Oui, Nico said. Special missions. Behind the lines. Great. Who'll save me from Anya after the two of you have gone? Stefan topped off Cade's glass. You will just have to win her over. And if I can't? Nico grinned. Be patient. Her feelings are hurt, but she will get over it. He took a long swig of scotch and then added, Or she will stab you in your sleep. Either way, it will work out. Cade sipped his drink. Thank you for reminding me why everyone hates the French. Scene.
Well, thank you, David. That was incredible. And as I knew it would be, remind our listeners the title of the book and the title of book 2 and when book 3 is coming out, because after hearing this, they should rush right out, buy the first 2, and pre-order the third.
Okay, the reading you just heard again was from The Midnight Front, book 1 of the Dark Arts series from Tor Books. Book 2, The Iron Codex, is also currently on sale. Book 3, The Shadow Commission, will be coming out on August 11, 2020. Again, these are all from Tor Books. And one of the premises of the series is that because the magicians have made deals with the devil, essentially, they age very slowly. So the same characters go through different decades. We have a 6-year war epic in book 1. Book 2 is a spy thriller set in 1954 during the beginning of the Cold War, and it deals with the combination of black magic and the atomic testing that was rampant at that time. And book 3 is a paranoia conspiracy piece in the style of 3 Days of the Condor, and it takes place in 1963 during the week after the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Okay, and does that wrap up the storyline, or might there be a 4th book down the road?
At the moment, Dark Arts seems to have reached its conclusion. As much as I would love to write more, Tor does not seem to be champing at the bit to publish anymore. So for the time being, Dark Arts will wrap up with book 3. I am moving on. I am working on some new projects for Star Trek in addition to my TV work, and I have some new original ideas that I've been tinkering with, but which have not yet found a home.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that and to seeing the outcome of the Scribe Awards. Again, congratulations on your nomination there.
Thank you very much. Very kind.
And I think that's a wrap.